Hello, welcome back to Weekend Movie Bros. I was gonna say brothers. Sounded weird. I changed it to bros. I am Jacob from Jacob is Here, and I have failed you. I have failed this city.
You watch way too much hair. It's Ray.
No, I feel like I should address the elephant in the room, and so the elephant will be addressed. Yes, I have not posted the past two podcasts. I know, sacrilegious. I was sick. I left town. I got sick again, and now we're here. So, but like this sickness is more like a cold type of thing, and so I'm doing work while I'm sick. So like this will go up, when Zachary texts me 12 minutes. Just keep texting me. Eventually, I'll do it. But that being said, we have a lot of controversial things to talk about today. And I'm just so excited. What?
Understatement.
And I'm just like super duper excited to get into it. And personally, the ones that have the most, let's see here, girth to their story, the thickness, the really, really round thickness. Just want to make sure the audience are watching gets a clear picture. I want to say those towards the end because, like, they're girthy, and we don't have many of those to go around. So, the story that you might see on the top about a little TV show called Batwoman, we're actually going to say it towards the end because, like, I'm not really ready to jump into that. So, instead, we're going to go to our second story of the day. Our second story comes in through a story that was a part of Past Log podcast that I didn't upload, and so I wanted to very quickly touch on it here because we had an interesting discussion about it. And that, of course, is the Snydercut happening?
Yes.
That's the question of no one knows. Well, because of the haircut and everything really is up in the air. We're going to have to hope and pray. There is a rumor, however, in the next few weeks or so, we should be getting a very, 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 very tiny teaser from Zack Snyder himself doing a complete full announcement of, the Snydercut. But the real question here is the Snyder Cut coming? What they're adding to the Snyder Cut is should they release the Snyder Cut? Now, I bring this up because I'm a big supporter of the Snyder Cut. I have been for many years now. I think Justice League is a piece of shit movie. It's on my top 10 worst movies of all time. I think it's on a lot of people's top 10 worst movies of all time, personally.
I wouldn't go that far.
It's unwatchable. And we'll demonstrate that when we have to watch it. And I'm cringing the whole way through it, wishing it would be over.
Okay.
Personal opinions.
Yes.
But with the Snyder Cut, it brings up a few extra stories, one would say. The air cut. We've all been asking for it. We all kind of want it. And also, the original first script, did bring everything together. Like, made everything come together perfectly. Then, supposedly, the studio came in and said, no, do this instead. Are we feeling that every movie going forward should have a cut based on the director?
No. So since the last podcast, even though they get uploaded, my thoughts when it comes to both versions are this. Snyder deserves his cut to be put out. After all this shit he went through, whether, I agree with this whole director's cut nonsense or whether, they should just put the version of the film they wanted out. This is my big thing with BVS back in 2015. We waited almost a year to get to the ultimate cut back in 2016 for Batman v Superman. And my opinion with that is this. Release the version you wanted in theaters to begin with, not the watered down one that we got. Now, when it comes to Justice League,
okay.
When it comes to Justice League, there were more circumstances at play than BVS. I understand that. And so, therefore, I believe Snyder deserves his shot at showing what his film could have been. Now, on the other half of this coin, the air cut, he has had a director's cut come out already for this movie. It didn't add much to the film. Everybody, the only reason they're talking about the air cut is because of Jared Leto's Joker. And Birds of Prey very much kicked his Joker out. He is gone.
Yeah, but it's still Joker, so it's not gone.
He, in a sense of right now, he's out of the picture. He
True,
is not.
But don't you want to know how we got there?
Not really. I understand. I think they should call this the Leto cut not the Ayer cut, because I feel like Leto is talking more about this than Ayer is. Ayer wants to get out his more grittier R-rated version, because when Suicide Squad was coming out, it was right after Guardians of the Galaxy happened, and DC wanted their Guardians of the Galaxy version of that film, and that's why it was so comedic. I know his version was more darker, but I don't want to see another version of this film just because they add more Joker scenes. I don't feel like that's enough to adequate a director's cut of that movie. I don't think personally.
I think a lot of people disagree with you.
That's fine.
That's fine as well. Because I do honestly think that's probably what it's going to be. It's probably going to be the same exact movie with a little bit more explanation on more things that were cut from the movie because of whatever reason they were cut for whatever it was. Here's the thing. I think if they want to release the Ayer cut, a lot of people are now saying that the Ayer cut should come out before the Snyder cut. That's the biggest new thing. And I personally we have been fighting, Zachary not, but most of us have been fighting for the Snyder cut for a long time, tweeting about it, asking for it. For 4 years, we've been asking. The Ayer cut just came. You're like, oh, the Snyder cut's a thing? Well, let's ask for the Ayer cut. And I really don't want to undermine Zack Snyder because of everything that happened on the set of this movie and the circumstances surrounding this movie and things. I think it's really, really bad. And so if they are going to release an Ayer cut, I think it should be 2 or 3 years away from the Snyder cut. Don't make it a thing. Don't make it a package deal. Make them separated. Make it have time in between because, yes, people are right. Technically, if the movie, the Ayer cut or whatever, is supposed to be the version that is teased, that David Ayer has teased, yes, we should probably see it before Justice League Snyder, because of the things that were supposed to be in that first draft. We're not saying that they kept them. Who knows? It might not even be kept. And the version of the movie that we're going to see is a version of the movie that's already been filmed. There's nothing. They're not adding anything new. It's just things that we're all in the cutting room for.
They're stitching back together what Ayer made. And the other big thing I want to bring this up, and I know I keep bringing him up, but it's the truth. Jared Leto keeps talking about how much his performance got shattered within this disruption of the film. You and I talked about this when we talked about Ayer cut a couple days ago. We could watch this and go, you're completely right, Jared. Man, they really screwed up your performance. Or we can go, wow, man, they really just cleared out the board because of how bad you were doing in the role.
But we can also say the same thing about Snyder Cut.
Yeah, well, no, I agree with that. I agree with that as well. But that's an entire film. We're basing off this Ayer cut off one thing. If the rest of the movie is now around his Joker and his Joker doesn't work, it still fundamentally does not work as a film. Look at Enchantress. She was the overlaying aspect of that film, and she absolutely
supposedly the reasons why she did not work were part of the reasons what got cut out.
I'm just, you know what I'm saying? They're if his
I
understand
completely understand what
you're that movie, and it sucks, it doesn't change the fact the movie's still not that good.
And also, it brings up the fact that Kathy Yang is now infamously said on Twitter that she has her own version of Birds of Prey. I personally don't want to see that. And a lot of other people, I don't think Birds of Prey, it's not going to be my top 10, maybe 10, if it is in my top 10 movies of the year. Because who knows how many movies we're actually getting this year. I might only be able to judge the first 12 that I saw, circumstances. But if that's the case, then it's probably going to be pretty high up on the list just because there isn't anything else to say, oh, this was better. What I mean? Yeah. But either way, I enjoy the movie. I've seen it many times since we've owned it and things. I've enjoyed it at home. I actually think it's a much better movie on rewatch. First time, it's shocking. It's this was not what I expected. This is not exactly what I wanted. But after you watch it a few times, you start to kind of understand, okay, this is what we have. This is what we got. And I don't think it needs to be plus. I don't want to see what things are left on the cutting room for.
Now,
also, it was a flop.
Yeah, well, we can say the same thing about Justice League.
Justice League was a flop.
It was supposed to make $1 billion.
The only difference between that flop and this flop is that we can officially say Whedon's version is probably the reason why it flopped.
Yeah,
not because of the movie, because it was Whedon's version. The only reason why it flopped, I'm sorry, my Birds of Prey poster is just sitting right there. The whole reason why it flopped was because people didn't connect with the story. They did not like the characters. Margot Robbie maybe is not as big of a selling point as we once thought she was.
And that's why I want to ask you: will we find out that in the Lang cut of Birds of Prey, they had Poison Ivy and Catwoman in it? Would that make it? No, not even with that.
I want a Gotham City Sirens movie. That's right. I personally think that's where they should be introduced, and things, because if we're going down, let's say Snydercut does amazing, and they're not ready to reboot this because it was missed opportunity. Like Warner Brothers is like, oh shit, we like really fucked up. This could have been a huge thing, like Marvel, that we could have continued on with this. Well, then I want I don't want like Poison Ivy. I know Catwoman's technically showing up in the Batman movie, but if that's true, then those movies will be what they say, Elseworld stories, where that's not actually the Batwoman that will be a part of the main story going throughout the film. I'm not Batwoman, sorry, Catwoman. Sorry, I have a lot of things on my mind right now. You know what I mean? And so I would rather have a Gotham City Sirens introducing all these characters.
I think that's the more crazier part talking about any of this is that if Zack Snyder's Justice League goes over well, then what you said is going to be completely true. Pattinson's Batman stuff, I guarantee you, will just go straight to what Joker was last year, which is just going to be Elseworld stuff, which I'm fine with. I'm all for this, other stuff that we've got. Now, what does that mean for the future of the DCU if that's the case? Like, they don't have a Batman still. They don't have a...
So, honestly, did we talk about Henry Cavill coming back as Superman?
Yes, we talked about the Shazam cameo, which is fucking hilarious. Everybody's not seen the Shazam cameo. Go see the Shazam cameo. It's really funny.
So, like, Henry Cavill is officially coming back as Superman. It's cameos right now, but we're basically letting him build up into a bigger, character for Man of Steel Part 2, hopefully laying the groundwork in these movies that he's placing for Man of Steel, like 2 or whatever. Mm-hmm. And that being said, Snydercut does really well, and people are like, oh, we're really rough on, like, Ben Affleck and wherever he's at mentally. I mean, it's all about mental for Ben Affleck alone. Maybe he'll be willing to come back and actually do that Batman film and continue on the legacy that he was trying to build. He was at least trying to.
Can you imagine if that happened? The redemption story would be nuts. There could be a documentary about his time as Batman before any of this happened, and that's crazy to think about. But also, how's it make people feel about Pattinson again? Like, are they just going to put Batman to the side and go?
Just like Joker, Joker went over really, really well. It's $1 billion movie, guys. That's so crazy to say, but it was $1 billion movie. I don't really necessarily think Batman's going to be $1 billion movie. It has potential, but I think it could. My bigger question here is, because we're going to talk about, when we talk about Batwoman, Batman's showing up in a lot of places. It's not like it used to be where it was just like here, he is everywhere. And would they greenlit the sequels? Supposedly this is supposed to be a trilogy. Would they do the rest of the movies if they're not continuing on with this story?
So my thing about that now, because I've really thought about Batman since CW did the Hush stuff with Batman, and I'm like, wow, they're really opening this now to anything. Like, we just thought, because Gotham to me was like, we saw him in a suit and that was it. That's TV Batman done. The fact that we're getting a TV version of Batman in full means anything's on the table now. And so Matt Reeves' trilogy is a planned trilogy. I think this is always done on studios' parts of planning out a number of films, even though your first one's come out, Power Rangers is a clear example of never doing that.
Well, also agreeing with the sequel before the first one comes out to make sure, there's another one coming. We should go out and we should watch this one to get prepared for that next one.
You don't greenlit 7. You greenlight 1. Oh, yeah, there's a difference. And so let's say for the sake of sake, Justice League comes out, does really well. Everybody loves Ben again, decides to come back. Pattinson's Batman comes out and it tanks. Like, it doesn't do good because everybody's just give me more Affleck. Then Pattinson went through all of this shit for his film to come out, not do good. It'll be like he was just a blimp on the screen. And I honestly think before Affleck gets a shot again, because he left the role and Pattinson got it. I feel like Pattinson deserves a shot. Let his film stand without Affleck being involved. If Pattinson doesn't do well, that's when you announce the Affleck film coming out.
also, what happens, because this is set back, we have no idea, like, and I don't think they ever actually put a date on, like, Man of Steel. Do we have a year for that? Like, not the year it came out, but the year that the actual story is set in.
What, Man of Steel?
Like starting off this whole older people.
2013. It starts the year the movie came out in 2013.
Are you positive? Like, if
Yes.
I Google that right now, that's exactly what it's going to say.
Yes, that happens in 2013 because it's and then 4 years after Man of Steel is Batman v Superman, so it'll be in 2016.
Versus Superman.
No, hang on. It happened in 2013, 2 years after the battle was BVS. So it'd be 2015 be technically the year of BVS.
Actually, the better thing to go off of here is Wonder Woman, because Wonder Woman was set back in the past and we see her again. Hold on, I brought up a whole timeline. Because what I'm trying to say here, the point of this, is there any way to connect Ben Affleck's Batman and Robert Pattinson's Batman to try not to undercut it? I understand they don't look a lot alike. They don't. Robert Pattinson definitely can never get as big as Ben Affleck could or try. Controversial, but true. And so I personally would rather just have an Elseworld story. I don't want a Joker sequel. If this is what's going to happen, I would much prefer, in that case, see the air cut, see what Jared Leto did, and continue on with that.
Now, see, that's where I'd be different about the whole air cut situation. If Affleck wants to come back, then I want to see the air cut because I want to see what Jared Leto could have done with his Joker, and if his Joker is good, then I want to see these Batman and Joker clash because obviously there's a deep connection between them because of Robin. So right there is my reasoning for air cut. However, let's say that Justice League still does well, but Affleck still doesn't want to come back. And I still see no reason for the air cut to happen because it's only mainly for Joker reasons, and we're never going to use that Joker again, even if this does well. I don't think so. And so it really all depends on whether or not Ben wants to come back, if how all this goes.
Yes.
I still don't think Batman's going to do very well, honestly. After all the comments that Pattinson's been making for the past couple of weeks, he's not helping himself at all with the fans. And with how far they are behind on shooting, I don't think it's going to hit the 2021 mark anymore. I think we might get it in 2022 now. I don't think it's going to hit 2021. I think Suicide Squad will be the only DC film we get next year. I don't think Batman's going to hit it because Suicide Squad's done.
It is done, and they are currently in the middle of
post-production.
So
I don't think Batman's going to make the 2021 deadline, which sucks. We have to wait. We have to wait longer. But that also gives 2021 the time for Justice League to see if Ben does well. And, maybe, unfortunately, they push Pattinson's Batman movie onto HBO Max and see how it does there and let Ben have the big screen.
No, actually, to be honest with you, in the long run, might be something that happens just because it's not that they're not spending a lot of money on this.
No, it's not like they're going to lose a ton of money if they put Batman on HBO Max.
I don't believe they'll put it on HBO Max, though. I do believe that it could go maybe to premium on video on demand. But then again, it's getting so controversial to do that it's such
Here's the other thing. I brought this up in the other podcast, but since it didn't get uploaded, I'll bring it up here again. I talked about how if Justice League does well and they do a 6-episode format for that movie and do it like in chapters, and let's say Ben really likes that concept, what if Ben doesn't want to do his Batman take on the screen? What if he wants to continue it with the HBO Max and do like a 6-chapter Batman series with him directing the episodes?
Then hopefully what that would mean in that case and stuff, hopefully that would mean that he is open to jump back and forth between have cameos instead of having a full-fledged movie, which could be the way they score him, saying, hey, this. But the only problem here is let's say his budget is a little higher than what they're willing to spend on HBO Max because it's not doing well. We'll talk about that when we get to that segment, which is a little bit later on in this podcast. I have a feeling this podcast, by the way, guys, is going to be a little bit longer because we have smaller stories. They tend to bring out the more conversational side in both me and my brother. But I feel like they're gonna be like, well, if you want to do this, you're gonna have to make a movie because we're not willing to actually pay for you to do this.
The only reason I will disagree with you on that is what Marvel's doing right now. Falcon Winter Soldier could have easily been a film, but they decided to break it into 8 parts.
I get that, but I think there's some security about Marvel than there is about that. And because we're not releasing the details on how well any of this shit does or whatever, there's less of a risk of putting 60 million or 70 million in a movie, sending out to theaters, seeing how well it does, to actually do that.
But what if they do that with Ben? I mean, let's look at his past films. The Town really wasn't on a high budget. Argo really wasn't on a high budget. And his last film that came out, the mobster one, really wasn't on a low budget.
Actually, I think a better thing here to look at, that's a good idea, is actually to look at his return. I think before it was like, oh my God, Ben Affleck's getting a movie that's Batman. But now that's not like, it's the cool factor of Batman getting a movie again is gone. I don't know how to spell Ben Affleck.
You know how to spell Ben?
Preferably the Affleck part of that. I got it. But I think based on his box office return, could it be a great thing to know?
Yeah.
Which is how a studio would eventually put him
Look
under.
At it.
Yeah.
Because originally when he was going to be planning that Batman film, it was right after BVS came out. The hype around his Batman was real. Suicide Squad's cameo happened. He was really well received in Justice League. Like, the hype was real for his movie, but then all this shit happened and he left and Pattinson came on. So the hype around him being Batman in a movie again is gone. But I think if Justice League does well, it'll bring the hype back up to where Warner Bros. Will go, wow, everybody really responds to your Batman really well. And you don't want to do a movie version of this. Well, we make some kind of deal where you do cameos for us in movies, but we let you do your Batman story on, like, say, an $80 million budget between 6 episodes or 8 episodes, 10 million per episode for Batman. I guarantee you he would do it. Guarantee you. Because he gets to fulfill his contract with DC, and B, he finally gets to put his version of Batman to bed if he wants to. Like, it can officially be done, not have to worry about it and move on. Like, he can come back for cameos like that, but like his version of being a Batman solo film will be done. Like what he's been trying to do, I think. Well, I want it to happen.
We will see. Obviously, this is all depending on how well the Snydercut does.
Yes.
Now, before we move on, because we're going to move on here in 1 second, do you think they're going to release the numbers for the Snydercut?
I think it'd be dumb of them not to. Because let's be honest here. Well, I mean, let's be really honest. We'll get to HBO Max in a little bit. Without the announcement of the Snydercut, I don't think HBO Max can hold the numbers it has currently.
It doesn't have a lot.
My point. I think Snydercut is really holding on a lot of people to hold a subscription. And
well, I don't. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it. I would be very curious to see if they do release the numbers.
I think it'd be crazy if they didn't.
So the next developing story in which is developing, these are things that develop every day, is the simple fact that originally theaters were supposed to open in mid-July, equaling Tenet and what was the other one supposed to come out? Mulan, that's what I'm thinking of, were supposed to come out on time on their new release dates. Tenet never moved, but you know what I mean. Now, that's not the case. Due to everything going on in the world, which we'll talk about a little bit later on this podcast, and coronavirus, we're thinking more mid-August, because in reality, you don't want to put a new release such as Tenet unless every box office chain is equaling people can go. And so for instance, like New York, which is a very big, has the most theaters in all the U.S., New York and California do, particularly L.A., theirs don't open until Phase 4, and they're just now moving into Phase 1 of reopening things. Their theater stuff is not until Phase 4. What's the point of releasing something as big as Tenet when a huge population of the U.S., which is a huge money intake or whatever, can't even see the movie? So what is your opinion on this?
I agree, and this is unfortunately Nolan not talking to his studio correctly, because them trying to get this film out in July. We talked about this. I think July was a crazy thing for both films in general. I think this really just officially puts the nail in the coffin for Mulan's theatrical run. At this point, they are dumb not to put it on VOD and then Disney Plus. They really are, because they are wasting money now holding it back. It's just release it, hold it for November. Let it be a VOD in November.
No, it'll get I have a feeling what will happen, because they need money. Disney needs money. We're not talking about how they opened up Disneyland and stuff, because they did. It's not doing very well, but it did.
I don't think we opened much longer to begin with.
Huh?
I don't think it'll be much. I think this whole reopening bullshit for most like amusement parks, theaters right now is stupid. It really, really, really is.
The video for Las Vegas.
Did you see the whole suing thing going on in Ohio for Kings Island?
No, what?
Kings Island was going to sue the state of Ohio because they refused to let them reopen. And then literally a week later, Divine said that we're going to let amusement parks start and reopen in mid-June. But that's going to be taken right back because cases are starting to go back up again, and they don't want crowds.
No, it's going to come down to economics. We talked about this before. We can't die. Like the economy cannot die. They're willing to kill us for the economy not to die, and that's just the honest truth about it. Back to what we're talking about. Sorry, we got distracted. I think that they'll release it on release day, just PVOD instead.
How much?
25 to own, 20 to rent.
There's not going to be an own situation with this one.
Oh yeah, they're definitely gonna. There's more money. Oh, supposedly, I don't know. We don't know Scoop's numbers, but I'm assuming there's gonna be more money into owning. Onward did very well for them for $20 to own.
There's a difference though. Onward got a chance to be in theaters. People who saw Onward in theaters wanted to own it. Mulan's a whole other situation.
But it stayed number one for several weeks after people continued to buy Onward over and over again. And it did really well in theaters.
And also, to be honest, I think 25 is a little too low. I think it's going to be a $30 rental. I think 30 will be the rental number. And I think it'll be 25. I think it'll be 30 to rent and 25 to own.
No, 30 to own, 25 to 20 to rent.
I'm reversed.
No, you want the owning price to be more. Or everybody will buy it. Nobody will rent it. Then there's no point in putting a renting price on it.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Still $30. I still think $30.
Yeah, I can see that. I'm only saying 25 because that's how much Scoob was.
Do you think people are willing to put $30 down on that movie though?
I do. I truly do. Because people like the idea of paying more money to own something than they like to pay more money to rent something for 48 hours.
I feel so bad for that movie.
Oh, so do I. It could be really bad.
Yeah, that's the worst part about all this. Like all this is going on. You go to watch the film and it was just okay.
Yeah.
Like New Mutants.
New Mutants, I do believe, will stay in theaters.
Okay.
I do have
whatever floats your boat.
All right, we're going to move on. Evan Peters' WandaVision.
I have so many theories. Quicksilver from X-Men Days of Future Past goes back in time and sees his future sister from a different universe, and he takes the place of what's-his-face from Kick-Ass, and that becomes a new Quicksilver, and we find out Ian McKellen and Michael Fassbender, the actual Magneto, blah, blah, blah. I have so many theories. Oh, I'm good.
I don't know.
My biggest one, and it's the only one that logically makes sense in my head, is that Deadpool makes the best joke in the first movie of going, Oh man, Stewart or McAvoy. They look the same. What if? What? No, here's a giant what if. I doubt this is going to happen. What if Deadpool, for some odd reason, shows up in WandaVision? For some odd reason, go with me. And we see Evan Peters come in, and he's Quicksilver. And Deadpool goes, "That's the same guy, right? The guy who died in Age of Ultron is the same guy," and just walks off, and instantly makes Evan Peters Quicksilver, the Quicksilver that died. But he came back through the time traveling Days of Future Past, like he survived. And that little girl we saw in Days of Future Past was Scarlet Witch from the MCU. But due to the future Days of Future Past timeline happening, she ended up with a different Quicksilver in the MCU, and he stayed over in the X-Men timeline. You look tired and you look confused. It's a lot to do.
I personally, I'm gonna make this super duper easy because ultimately I have a feeling that's the way they're going to go. That's a little bit too convoluted in my personal opinion, but that's my personal opinion. Is they're just gonna say he's Quicksilver. And I have a feeling, a very, very strong feeling at that a lot of people are gonna be okay with that answer. Do you want to know why, Zach Green? Because not a lot of people liked Aaron Taylor Johnson in the 12 minutes that he had on screen.
No, no one did.
Minutes. He did not impress us. Now, Evan Peters, sure we did. But it brings up the better question of who else could come if Evan Peters. Also, we just want to put this out there. He could have also just been visiting on set. That happens a lot.
Very, very true. But to what you just said, who else could show up with him? Ian fucking McKellen as Magneto.
No, I don't think so.
Or Michael Fassbender?
I hope not.
What?
Sorry, not sorry.
He's great in First Class.
There's 4 of those movies, and you can only say one was good.
Days of Future Past 2.
That was a horrible film.
Your experience got ruined.
Oh my Jesus. Okay. Falcon Winter Soldier.
You were told that story on the podcast?
No, I can. Okay. So, if you guys don't remember, Days of Future Past back in 2014, I want to say, is when it came out.
Besides Winter Soldier was the most anticipated film of the year for pretty much everybody, was Days of Future Past.
Doesn't matter. Not important to the story.
Anyway.
It came out Memorial Day weekend. Horrible weekend to come out for several reasons. But it actually ended up doing pretty well. It's just not a great weekend. It did end up doing pretty well. Me and my mom, we were like, oh, what should we go see? We really liked First Class. It would happen to be like one of our more favorite X-Men films. And we were very much anticipating the sequel. Well, this man, Memorial Day weekend, by the way, if you were curious, is known for one thing. It's almost like Irish weekend, or Sherlock, or what is that day? Green. What is that day? What's the day called?
Just go with this story. Sherlock Day.
What is Shamrock? I guess it's Shamrock.
No, it's St. Patrick's Day. Sherlock Day. What's the day for the detective?
There we go. Well, unlike that one, Memorial Day is known for drinking. A lot of people go out and drink. They get really drunk and they do stupid things. Well, we have to have a drunk in our movie theater as well. We went early in. I think it was like 11 o'clock in the morning. I don't like seeing. That was back then before I didn't like crowds and stuff. And so we went as an early bird, and we were like, oh, it's going to be fine. So we're sitting there. We get comfortable. We had our snacks. We had our drink. We're ready for the movie to start. Well, there's only like 6 people in the theater. The theater itself is quite big, and, people talk during loud movies. You can't normally hear them. So we thought. And this man, who was probably 4 or 5 rows above us, he kept shouting a lot of interesting things. These are profanities, and it wasn't like there was a child, so like we ignored it. Like people like to talk during movies, but he was talking at the screen. That was the most alarming part of this whole conversation, is that he was talking at the screen. The movie starts, and I don't want to give any spoilers or whatever, but there's a moment in the movie where Logan says the F word. Quite famously. It's a very famous line.
One of the best lines in the movie.
Well, This man must have already seen this movie. I have to say we probably went on a Sunday. We probably went on the holiday actually. So probably like a Sunday or something like that. And so the movie had been out for several days. It wasn't like this was just like we were going on Friday. Well, this man screams at the screen, and somebody sitting next to us, like 2 rows down, was like, "I'm just gonna go tell someone that someone seems in what's the word, inebriated, whatever, they're drunk." He stands up, pulls out his pecker, and pisses. And we didn't actually realize that he was pissing until probably 2/3 of the way into his pissing, because like there's a different noise between someone peeing and someone like dropping a water bottle and just dripping. And so it just flowed all the way down. It was like a waterfall of pee, one would say. And then after he got done peeing, which was gross and very distracting, he falls down with his pants down the stairs. And there was a lot of stairs. We were pretty high up. The movie theater itself that we went to, Zachary's been to it, is quite big. He fell down all those stairs. He stood up. He smacked the screen. He said, "I'm doing just fine," and walked out. And that's my experience with X-Men Days of Future Past. That does not counteract the movie being bad. I've seen it many times past that. I have seen the road cut. I've seen every version of this film, and none of them I've enjoyed.
It's still my favorite X-Men movie.
That's
of main continuity, it's my favorite one.
With that being said, though, I do really, really enjoy the action sequences in Days of Future Past. The way they interlocked everybody's powers, I thought was really, really cool. But that does not mean the film was good. So, moving on to more Marvel, because, come on here. It's either a Marvel or DC day. Falcon and Winter Soldier, mid-season. So, it came out today that they're about 6 or 7 episodes into Falcon and Winter Soldier. It is going to be probably 12 episodes or something long, something like that under those lines, which is a lot longer than we originally had planned, or maybe
I think it's only 8
or 8 or something. They're close, or maybe they're 4 episodes in. Maybe that's what it was. And so the plan is now to release the 4 episodes that they have done
in August
and do like a mid-season cut and release 4 more episodes in like the winter.
So from what I understand when I've read about it is that so the original planned date for Falcon Winter Soldier is August, and they are still going to try to hold to that release and get out these 4 episodes in August, and hopefully by the time that this stuff starts coming out, they'll be able to put out the other half in the winter, which unfortunately would also push, if they do that, push WandaVision into 2021 if they do that, because they would already have a slot taken up by Falcon Winter Soldier again, which sucks. But I think that also gives them a good reason to put WandaVision and for Doctor Strange 2 now. So I think it's all in all good. Plus, they'll also tie in Falcon Winter Soldier with Black Widow being in theaters still. As long as Black Widow's in theaters by that point, hopefully. So I think it's an overall win. We still get the show this year, which I think is awesome, because I've been dying. It is my most anticipated show besides Mandalorian.
And for the year, Disney Plus is probably going to want to put out new content.
Yeah. Disney Plus desperately needs new content. I don't check the app anymore. I don't. I completely forgot Artemis Fowl was coming out.
What?
I completely forgot Artemis Fowl was coming out until you told me.
So did I. I had to be reminded.
They don't have the content. They don't have content until October because Jon Favreau confirmed in an interview earlier this week that Mandalorian is going to hit its premiere date in October.
So everybody, WandaVision and Falcon Winter Soldier, which we thought, by the way, that WandaVision was even further into post, like almost everything was filmed. That's also not the case. They're supposed to be start filming in July, and they're supposed to be start filming stateside instead of across seas, which was something different. So I'm curious to see what that will do, if that will change up anything. And us as a viewer will notice the difference in between the two.
Yeah. But does this make you excited to watch these 4 episodes coming out in August, maybe?
I'm curious. I'm perfectly fine with it. There's a lot of TV shows out there that do have seasons. I mean, Am I okay with a streaming service doing half seasons? I don't really know. I'm not really sure, but is it better to get them than not to get them?
So here's the better question: are they going to put them out weekly, or are they going to give us all 4 at once?
They'll put them out weekly, trying to get you to come back as much as possible during those 4 weeks because they're not going to have enough to.
Because that won't even be all.
Every TV show, Winter Soldier, WandaVision, which is supposed to release in December, and then Loki, depending on how far they had just started. So, who really knows? I don't know. I'm not sure. I personally think, because it makes me nervous. If WandaVision comes out in December, and let's say we don't get the half season until December, there has to be only within a month apart of us getting new episodes, or a lot of people are mad. If they can't do that, actually, I don't think it's a good idea. The more I talk about it, the more I think about it, I think a lot of people would just get mad.
Yeah.
Or a lot of people are like, okay, make this the season finale and make the next half the second season, because they can understand that to be a better answer than just having
cut off.
Just being cut off in the middle. Which I can get too. And from watching a lot of television here lately, I've been watching a lot of television, I would say. A lot of seasons, by the final 4 episodes, do feel like a season finale after a season finale after a season finale. And so I could also see that being the thing where they're like, oh, we'll release season 1 this time around, but there's 4 more episodes, and so you'll get a season 2. Instead of bringing a season 2, they already have a season 2, which I think would run over better. I think that's probably the better answer.
We'll see what happens. Well, I think we'll find out more within the coming weeks what they're going to do.
Yeah. And we'll report on it when we know.
Yes.
So moving on to one of the last stories before we jump over into the bigger story, because Zachary says he has a lot to say about it. We're going to talk about HBO Max and how it underperformed. So it did worse than Quibi on first day downloads 2 weeks ago. And also, or a week ago. It was a week ago. 2 weeks this Friday. 2 weeks this Friday. That's what it is. Sorry, just checking dates in my head. And it did not do well. Now, you have to remember, anybody who had HBO Now also carried over, which was 8.9 million subscribers already out of the 132 that are subscribed to HBO Go, which is a completely different service that does not offer anything HBO Now would have offered. I don't know. It's really weird. It's confusing. It should have been called a Warner Bros. Service.
That's where I come in with it, is that they had HBO Go, HBO Now, and now they're adding HBO Max, which is going to be HBO Now. And when you look at the HBO Max app, it does not look like an HBO app. It looks like a Warner Media app. I think they completely fucked up on how they're promoting this completely. And the content that came out with it is weird, because they have a tab that says leaving soon. And on that tab, certain films like Justice League and these other big films, Last Chance. Look at this. Titanic, all 3 Hobbit films, the 2 Batman films that two of the Batman films they have, Lego Batman movie, Justice League, Lego movie, all of us, all of these giant films, Elf, Shutter Island, all these Teen Titans Go to the Movies, all these big films that were really keep this thing afloat. This is the only place you can watch The Hobbit right now. The only place you can watch Hobbit, and it's a Warner Media only thing. And they're kicking them off within the first 2 weeks of it being revealed. The banner for DC is their Justice League crew, and you're going to kick their film off? What the hell? I'd be kind of pissed. And also, their DC app, oh, good God. Batman the Animated Series, Superman the Animated Series, Justice League, their entire, where's the Nolan films? And they're promoting Beware the Batman. You're promoting the wrong content. The best tab in this entire thing, honestly, is their TMC tab that has all the Turner Movie Classics tab is their best tab. They have some of the best classic films on this that no one knows about, and it's genius. But they don't. I don't know what they're trying to promote. Are they trying to promote them being an HBO app, or are they trying to promote them being a Warner Media app? And I don't know which one's which. The Cartoon Network app sucks too. Now, I can say this though. Their new Looney Tunes show, awesome. Really funny. Although taking away Elmer Fudd's shotgun is a sin, and they should know that. But no, this is terrible. Their lineup on here is terrible.
We should put that on the list of movies we should watch.
Do we have to? It's so bad.
I know.
That's on your list now, Jake.
Continue talking, Zachary. I'm just showcasing the app.
Also, the other really good one on here is Studio Ghibli. Having all those Studio Ghibli movies on here is a huge get for them. I am now watching Rick and Morty for the first time because of this app, and I love that for that. Rick and Morty is now one of my favorite shows. It's really, really strong. But the Studio Ghibli, this is what really got me for HBO Max, because I'm watching Princess Mononoke with a friend right now, and I just started Howl's Moving Castle by myself. These are some of the best animated movies I've ever seen. And they're more mature than I thought they were going to be. However, here's the other big thing. They have X-Men Dark Phoenix on here. That's not an HBO property or a Warner Media property.
You have to understand, you have to remember, before you jump down their throat to have this, and for the coming soon, they have not like I said, this should have been a direct Warner Media. I have a feeling what they realized, the same thing with Disney Plus, is that Disney sold out a lot of their content when they didn't have a streaming service. HBO, because it was not an actual streaming service, because HBO is a TV provider, it's not a streaming service nowadays, but it wasn't beforehand. They also sold out a lot of their content, equaling why Batman and Robin could be leaving and all these movies that you're like, why are they leaving? These could be the reasons why. It's because they have contracts somewhere else that they have to go fulfill, or they can get sued. X-Men Dark Phoenix, however, was put on here through HBO, like the actual app that you can get on your television, on Amazon or whatever. And that's where the problem lies, is that they should not be connected. Or they could be, just not through the way they are. It's confusing.
And I like the fact that the HBO films that are coming from HBO have HBO underneath them. Like, it's not like they're hiding the fact they're from HBO. They're showing that. That's awesome too. I mean, that's the only streaming service to have all eight Harry Potter films. But at this point,
you don't Harry Potter now?
You don't own Harry Potter.
Huh?
At this point, if you don't own Harry Potter at this point, you don't own Harry Potter at this point.
I just have mixed opinions on Harry Potter just because of J.K. Rowling.
Because even though
it's complicated, it's very complicated. We don't need to.
I can separate her books from the movies, and so therefore I can still enjoy the films. That is the best show on HBO Max. I'll take it to my grave. The Not So Late Show with Elmo. It's the best one on HBO Max, and I'll take it to the grave. They nailed that. But they have so many good movies on here, and they're not promoting them at all, and it's weird.
Just to keep look around, just for everybody to see and things.
Because they have a really, really, really good category on here. They really, really do. I just wish they knew how to promote it correctly.
Yeah, I don't like. Okay, for instance, so this is what HBO Max looks like, guys. Now, good enough. By the way, my opinion on HBO Max is I do think it has potential to be my favorite streaming service, as my favorite content, or will get my favorite content. HBO is my baby. I love Warner Brothers content. I just have always, it's been my favorite, like compared to like versus Warner Brothers versus like DC. and stuff. I think Warner Brothers puts out more grittier and more darker content, which is why I would say at this moment, even though it's a whole good jungle of a mess, which it is, I still think HBO Max at this moment is a better streaming service than Disney Plus, because Disney Plus is the same thing. It's there's some darker things on here, but you're basically watching the same thing over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
It's one brand, and I like the fact, even though we just talked about it, it is a mess. They need to figure out how to make that mess seem more focused, I guess. But I do like how there's so many different things on HBO Max where, oh, River wanted to watch something, we can turn on Looney Tunes. But if I want to watch something, I can turn on something adult that's rated R. That's my
in a way. River got Looney Tunes and you got Friends in that scenario. Whereas on Disney Plus, it's more of I want to go watch Avengers Endgame, and River got the entire app.
Like, yeah, Avengers Endgame is probably the scariest thing that's on here.
Which is sad, because it's not that scary. I mean, look at your continuing watching. You have on there Be Our Chef, Hannah Montana, and Out. Now go look at your continuing watching over on HBO Max.
Oh, okay. Oh, sorry. I sent out a code to a lot of people, so my computer thinks that's where I want to go.
But look at your continuing watching over here on Max. You have Friends, Dark Phoenix, Batwoman, Batman and Robin, and Nancy Drew. That is more of a versatile continue watching than what the three you have are on Disney Plus. By the way, my brother loves Batman and Robin. I'm just putting it out there. It's on his continue watching. Just putting it out.
I want everybody, and I mean truly right now, before you think about doing anything else, I need you to go look up Batman showing off his credit card. Because I know what you're thinking to yourself, you don't believe that. No, he did buy Poison Ivy. Yep, that's a thing. And you need to see it. It's an experience.
Really?
And that's my opinion.
And then Mr. Freeze's ultimate jump from one area to another.
There's a lot going on in that scene. Just put that one. But also, HBO Max, I think a problem with HBO Max compared to Disney Plus is that HBO Max launched a different streaming service for DC, and all this stuff should be over here.
So here's my aggravating thing. So I looked into this. So remember I told you a couple days ago I tried to go watch the Batman, and I couldn't because they wanted another subscription on the DC Ultimate thing. You want to know why? Because they're getting ready to move all this stuff to HBO Max, and so in order to watch it, you have to buy that subscription. So go click on it real quick. We can't watch it, just to let you know. Watch with premium.
Hold on, let me click on, let's go.
Oh, no, Harley Quinn work.
Oh, yeah, there's the play button. There we are.
The reason it'll work is it's a DC.
Oh, no, we don't have it. Didn't charge me. Yep, can't complain, Zachary.
Never mind. It wasn't me. It wasn't the app.
I'll take care of that because I'm going to be reacting to Harley Quinn here in the next few days. So we'll get it again. I'll text you. But I shouldn't have to pay for 2 streaming services.
No, you shouldn't. Honest to God, if Doom Patrol is on HBO Max on June 25th, that's when the majority of DC Universe come over on HBO Max, honestly. Because it's just you're milking your customers for Dougal's amount of money. And it'd be like if Disney Plus was a streaming service and then Marvel had a streaming service and Star Wars had a streaming service. That'd be taking away money from multiple people.
Much better.
Yes.
Much
better. But then you just brought up Netflix. They have Arrow, Flash, Superwoman. She's in here. Yeah.
Supernatural.
They have Supernatural. They have Scooby-Doo, Where Are You? What's New Scooby-Doo? Scooby-Doo Incorporated. They have all of these things that could be on HBO Max for prime entertainment, and they're on Netflix.
But once again, it's because of contracts. They can't do anything about that, sadly.
Did you see how much Netflix made a big shit about them getting Scooby-Doo? It's a huge get for them. They took it from HBO Max.
No, that I'm more talking about like Supergirl and those type of things. Those are under contract. They're not coming back.
little thing, tiny little thing. Daredevil was right to go back to Marvel at the end of November, so there's a good chance we could see Daredevil show up on Disney Plus in November. I've heard, which means Daredevil could show up more often somewhere. Yay.
It's very interesting, to be honest with you.
There's a lot going on with it.
Zachary, because we're here to talk about the streaming services, I have a few for you to rank. Are you ready?
Okay.
Are you ready? So
Yeah.
I'm going to only ask you to rank ones you have used. All right?
Okay. That's fair.
There is another one I can't show you. It's over there. And that is Apple Plus. But you have yet to even see Apple Plus. So I'm not going to ask you to rank something you don't even know what it looks like.
Thank
All
you.
right? So we're going to be ranking Netflix,
Mm-hmm.
Hulu,
Mm-hmm.
Disney Plus,
Mm-hmm.
and HBO Max. We're not ranking DC Universe because I don't believe it. Huh?
What about Amazon Prime?
Amazon Prime.
Prime
We
Video.
have 5.
Okay, so we're going to start from my thumb and go to my pinky. Pinky will be number 1. So number 5, and I hate this because I am paying the most money for it, is Disney Plus. It lacks content. I only go there for one thing now, and that's Endgame. And whenever they put out new content, I'm not kidding. I only watch Disney Plus now for Endgame. I know I own it. I know. Okay. It's easier to get to.
Just go to the Prime app. I'm confused.
It's just for me. But no, and they keep promising content and then they don't put it out. Number 4 would be Hulu. I don't use Hulu a lot, but when I do use it, I feel like I'm cheating on my Spectrum because I have live TV and stuff that I don't need Hulu to use currently. And to be honest, most of the stuff on Hulu is going to be going to other streaming services anyway, so it really doesn't bother me as much. Number 3 would be HBO Max. HBO Max. I think their opening candidacy on the streaming service is strong. They came out with a bunch of really good original stuff. I got my Batman fix. I got my DC fix. I got my old movie fix on that, which I thought was really, really good. So overall, HBO Max is there, but it'll get better. I know it will. Number 2 is Amazon Prime Video. I think of all 5 of them is the widest range of film that you can find. There is not one thing that's not on there from any company, but they also are under a really, really, really big umbrella when it comes to their subscription, which is $100 a year. And I thought it was $100 a year.
It's cheaper. No, it's $80 now.
Well, then it's the same price as Disney Plus then for a year. And that's a lot to ask for a year. And so you're really taking that bet on that year of whether it's going to be good. But number 1,
Amazon is also for. Sorry, continue. I'll talk about when I.
And my number 1 is Netflix. It has not let me down in the however many years we've had it. I can go there and watch Dave Chappelle, Avatar: The Last Airbender, Scooby-Doo, and Netflix originals, and still have 30 dozen pieces of content to go watch I've never seen before. With HBO Max, Disney Plus, and mainly those 2. I've seen everything that they got. With Netflix, there's always something I've never seen before. There's a slight chance I've never seen something on Netflix. And also, they put out original television once a month. There's not one month where there's not something new coming out from Netflix. Whereas
every Friday there's a new original. If it's continuation or whatever, it's every Friday.
Something new
can count on Netflix through
with Disney Plus and HBO Max and even Amazon Prime. They wait 6 to 7 months to release the next season of anything. Whereas with Netflix, I got through 7 parts of Voltron over 4 months. I'm still waiting a full year almost now for Mandalorian season 2. I think that's kind of crazy. But no, Netflix continues to be number 1, and they continuously give me really, really good content. I'm a comedy guy. Stand-up is my favorite thing, and they have the best selection of stand-up, I think, on any platform. So that's mine.
Mine will go. It's interesting. I think Disney Plus. I don't ever use it. I use it to watch things with like maybe me and Peyton want to watch something stupid or whatever. We'll turn on that or River. We do use a lot because of River. So I mean, you are getting your money's worth with River, and we'll probably pay for it for another year. So it is what it is.
Yeah.
And then I would go Amazon Prime. I don't use it very often here as much as lately. If I use Amazon Prime like video, it's mostly like if I'm watching something on Stars. I tend to use it like as a cable provider and add, one of my channel subscriptions. I do think the price is justified because you do get Prime shipping, and that is a huge thing. And so I do believe the price is justified for that. Because most people don't even know they're getting Amazon Prime video with Amazon Prime. Because you just think you're paying for 2-day free shipping, which is a great deal.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of money you're not spending. And then I would go. Oh no! You know what? It's probably Hulu, and then Amazon Prime, because I use Amazon Prime a lot more than I use Hulu. I use Hulu when I have a TV show I'm currently watching weekly. Then I'll get on there every week at a certain time and watch it. Grey's Anatomy, I did that. Zoe's Extraordinary Playlist, I watched those weekly as they aired, and I could not have done that without Hulu. And so I'm grateful to have it, but, it's not something I need. It's not something, like, it disappeared tomorrow, I'm going to, cry about.
Yeah.
Then I go HBO Max. It's new. It's fresh. There is a ton of content on there that I personally have not seen. A lot of movies for me being a cinephile that I can't wait to watch and educate myself on in general, and TV shows and things that I have always said I'm going to watch, but now I can watch. So I'm very happy with it. And overall, like I said, I much prefer Warner Brothers content than Disney Plus content. I also like how it's a little bit more edgier than most streaming services are, which I enjoy. And then we have Netflix. Netflix is by far superior. Is that because it's been out the longest? Yeah, it has learned. It's learned what works and what doesn't work. It's gone through all, the stipulations and stuff. I think that plays a huge factor in it. And personally, it shows. It shows great. Like for right now, I'm using it all the freaking time. We'll get to that. And what I have been watching, because I have been watching a lot of Netflix. So, right. I think it's worth the $15 every month. Yes. It seems ridiculous, but when you watch 40 episodes of a TV show, which I have in the past 2 days, that's more. Like, if I bought those, like, just individually, that's ridiculously expensive amount of money. There's so much content.
I've watched, probably within this past week alone, 30 hours worth of Dave Chappelle's stand-up with the 4 specials he's out on there, and I go to bed to it. That's enough. That right there pays for Netflix and how much I'm watching Chappelle. And so that right there, I mean, you're paying for Netflix for how much content you watch. I haven't even watched Space Force yet, but I know I'm going to watch it eventually.
Oh, HBO Max also has Friends, which is just a beauty.
I really thought I'd be more excited about that. I've barely watched it.
Yeah, but every time you do watch it, you enjoy yourself.
Every time.
So your body's like, why are you not watching more Friends? Probably.
I know.
Am I right?
I think I'm going to watch Friends after I'm doing the podcast, probably.
Well, the problem with Friends is like you can't watch it in your room because your PlayStation's out there and it's not on HBO Max. Is not on the Fire Stick.
That doesn't bother me.
So but I'm just saying, it's a hurdle, and that's another problem with HBO Max is nobody knows what they can download it on because there's not a direct list.
I think where HBO Max thrived in its content, where it flunked in it is promotional. It didn't promote itself very well, or where it's going to be.
I would not judge it if it changed names.
It should. It really should. Like keep the HBO on there, but just call it Warner Media with HBO attached to it. Don't call it HBO Max with Warner attached to it. There's 2 very different things.
No, I would just call it Warner Media and then just keep HBO.
Because it's weird saying Zack Snyder's Justice League is an HBO Max exclusive when it should be Zack Snyder's Justice League is a Warner Media exclusive. There should be a difference in that. Because then it feels like an HBO movie, and it's not an HBO movie. It's a Warner film. There's a difference.
but it is going to be an HBO Max streaming show. So,
You know what I mean, though?
uh,
Deadwood the movie is an HBO movie. Justice League is a Warner Brothers film. There's a difference.
But Zack Snyder's Justice League is not a Warner Brothers film. It's an AT&T. Obviously, it's gonna open with HBO Warner Brothers. Okay, moving on to Batwoman. Batwoman is a mess. Okay, let's talk about it. I'm gonna read you guys a statement. Then Zachary's gonna go on a little bit of a rant, and I'm probably not gonna very much comment as I'm not there yet.
You're not there yet.
I don't have a lot to say about it.
And as a respectful person, I will not spoil anything about Batwoman that could infer or refer to this story because I love you and I know you're enjoying the shows.
All right. So the creator of the showrunner,
he's smart person. Nothing.
Smart showrunner. What?
Smart person showrunner.
Okay, the showrunner has released 2 statements, and I'm going to read them both by verbatim as what they said. Okay, so we can understand where they're coming from, and then Zachary can trash it. All right, let's get started. To be honest with you, I did consider the soap opera version of recasting for a hot minute because selfishly, we already had a couple episodes written. Transition-wise, it would be seamless. She told the person who wrote the article. But upon further reflection, and I think Gray Broanti helped me make the call. He's like, I think we should just reboot Batwoman as a different character. Also, being said, respect everything that Ruby Rose put into Kate Kane's character, and it also helps the audience because we're not asking him to address the elephant in the room by saying, oh, where'd you get your plastic surgery done? Type of thing, which would be the most soap opera way. But also, by the way, for anybody who does not watch Arrowverse, is just basically a soap opera with action. So, like, I think it would have worked out just fine. Just personal opinion. And as someone who is watching, the new character will be Ryan Wilder. She will continue to be an LGBT actress, but the biggest thing out of this is that they're looking for any race. So any color, anybody could play it. It does not have to be a white female, which opens up their name brand that they can go looking for. They cannot, by the way, for anybody who's really hoping for the person from Brooklyn Nine-Nine, which was the most person who everybody's like, oh, she should totally play her. She is under contract for 3 more years with Brooklyn Nine-Nine. She cannot accept the interview at all.
That's a shame.
A lot of people agree. But with that being said, however, how about you go ahead and tell me why this is the worst idea you have ever heard in your whole entire existence?
Okay, so
see,
there are some. I can see in their eyes of how they think this would be a good idea. If they don't recast Kate Kane, then there's always a chance for Ruby to come back if she wanted to come back and play Kate, which I think is honestly a good idea because if you watch the show, Ruby got better as the show went on. I feel like this show, of any Arrowverse show, progressively got better as the show went on. By the end of the season, I was fully committed and ready to continue on with this group. That's why The Flash did so well for me. The Flash started out slow, no pun intended. But as the show progresses, the story, the mystery just kept going and getting better and better and better by the end. And then season 2 just hit you like a vein. And so, especially with the ending that they give in Batwoman, to hear that they're rebooting the show, I feel like takes away from everything. They set up beautiful storylines by the end of the show. And what are they going to do with them now? What are they going to do with them? Are they not just going to throw away the end of that season and just say Bruce Wayne's back in Gotham? Great. And, I mean, what are they going to do with Alice? What are they going to do with Alice now? What are they going to do with her? What are they going to do with Kate's sister? What are they going to do with Kate's stepmom? What are they going to do with Argus? What are they going to do with any of this crap that they set up in this first season of Batwoman? Just say, oh, it happened a couple days ago. It's over and done with. They just talk about it in the background. That takes away from everything. I feel like I invested in something just for it to go away. That's where I'm more mad, is that they took away a very good storyline ending on a great cliffhanger just to go, it happened. It's annoying. And also, Ryan Wilder, Cassandra Cain, Barbara Gordon.
Nope.
Batwoman, Batman. Hey, I'm not done. Batman and Senator Kyle's daughter. Any three of these people easily.
Much prefer a new character.
I think Cassandra Cain should have been the one we go with. I really do.
Nope.
I really do. I think Cassandra would have. I really think that she would. Now, I love what they're doing with this character of letting it be, literally anybody can play her, and I love that. How are they going to tie it in to what's going on currently in the Arrowverse? How are they going to explain this within the verse? And also, it's a random thing now. It feels like the Kate Kane story that happened between her introduction in the first crossover, Crisis on Infinite Earths, and her season were just a blimp on.
If Kate Kane's story is an Elseworld story,
then what was the point? What was the point of setting up Bruce Wayne, Alice? I know, but if that was the case, though, what was the point of all of it then? What was the point?
I wouldn't know. I didn't watch it yet.
It feels like a front on the fans who actually got behind what the show was and saying, you know what, we know what you guys liked, but we don't want to do the whole soap opera thing of recasting. Like you said before I started talking, the Arrowverse is a soap opera all in on its own. It wouldn't have been weird. They've done it before. The
person who wrote the article for Forbes is for this change. They didn't really like Ruby Rose's change, and they didn't want to see it again.
I think that's also the big thing. This is also my opinion. I really liked Ruby by the end of the season. I think she ended really strong. So therefore, I am more hurt about this because they're literally just throwing away a great story. Now, I could be wrong, and the whole thing with the end of the season could continue on in some way, shape, or form or capacity within this new version of Batwoman.
What happens if whatever happens, okay? Let's say the first episode of Batwoman for season 2, because they don't kill her off. They could kill her off. It's a very big possibility they could. They had a very bad, what we have heard, fallout. They both did not agree on a lot of stuff. Ruby Rose had a lot of problems. Was a pretty big problem for the TV show. This was a very big understanding of she needs to leave type of thing. Kind of hard to work with. So they could kill her off in spite of the fact that she was hard to work with. Ending that chance of ever coming back. I think that's a stupid idea. Personally, leave it open. But what happens at the first episode, instead of just jumping right into this new character, Ryan Wilder, they have two options here. They could always do a whole, I guess what they do in every episode where they show the past, but make that whole episode, the whole first episode, be how she got to be Batwoman. I think that's horrible. I don't like that idea. Personally, I would say bring Ruby Rose back. Tell her, hey, you can come back for this one episode, less hours, whole 9 yards, and you're going to introduce this new character. Explain to the audience why you have to leave, why it's just not working out. Let's say it's hurting you. Let's say you cannot handle it, type of thing, and move your mantle.
The only way I would be okay if she came back and said why she had to leave because she went to go look for Bruce. She went to go look for Bruce. And for me, I would feel okay with going, okay, so Kate's gone. We now know why Kate's gone. It makes sense. So therefore, Ryan can still stay with Luke. We can still continue on with the Alice stuff and, the other thing going on. They can continue on with things.
What's the other thing?
You're not even close to where I can tell you that.
You mean the HUSH thing going on that I already know about, that I told you about?
Wow, Jake, way to blatantly pop that out while I was trying to not say it for everybody, not just you.
I spelled it.
People know what you said.
I spelled it.
It's his fault. But maybe they can continue on with that thing now if that's the case. I just feel like if they do, it would have been more impactful seeing Kate react to Bruce in Gotham for some reason. But if Kate goes, listen, I know Bruce is not here, and I need to go find him. I need to go make sure he's okay, and I need to bring him home. And maybe at the end of season 2, Ruby comes back with Bruce. And maybe by the end of season 2, Berlanti and her have sat down. She
Or they kill
realized,
her on screen. Not off
on
screen, but on screen. She agrees. I don't want to come back. I'm over this. We'll bring back in Bruce, and you kill me. Making him have to come back into the TV show because, just Superman Lois is a perfect example. Making him having to come back into the TV show and avenge her death with this brand new character that you spent 23 episodes, because Arrowverse cannot make a 4th episode. Mind you, it is pissing me off. I will get into it later. But it's here, make the 22 or make the 24. What the fuck is the 3rd episode? No one wants it. Go away, you stupid little bitch. My point being here, but you get to experience those 23 episodes with Ryan Miner and fall in love with her and realize that she's even better, maybe, possibly, better than Kane or whatever. Then, and then they bring her in. They're like, oh my God, it's you. And then, oh God, she's dead. And, whole thing. Could be interesting.
But then that would set Bruce on a path of going off of his code. And I don't want that to be the case.
I like dark characters.
Batman's a dark character, but he also has a code.
Does he? Batman versus Superman? Is there a code there, Zachary? Is there a code? No.
I can explain to you why his code's gone, and it makes sense.
What I'm saying is that
Batman long enough to go off the edge.
Also, if the Batman that we see in Crisis, which I should not have seen, but I did, if that's the same Batman that will end up being the Batman that she knows, I think he's already on the pathway. I think we're already headed to that direction.
Maybe Kate's death is what pushes him.
See? Perfect. She's dead.
That would make sense. But then Kevin Conroy is a dick Batman. I don't want that to be the case.
Kevin Conroy was a dick Batman. That is the case. Get over it.
No.
So, before we move on to what we've been watching, and shit do I tell you, we have a lot. I want to very quickly take this time to talk about the Black Lives Matter movement that is going on currently across the world. Because this is a podcast, in the video description of this video, if you're watching it on YouTube, there is a card and several other petitions that I've been linking in several different other places. I keep trying to change them up, whatever, of ways you can help. I know not everybody can donate. We're going through a pandemic. I mean, our bank accounts are kind of lower than normal. There's a lot of things going on in the world right now, but if you just take the time, spend 30 seconds signing any of the petitions that I link down below. If you're on the podcast, go over to our YouTube channel, do it that way. Go on to my Twitter. It's Jacob is here, YT, whatever you want to do. I share them all the freaking time. It's the best way you can do to get the note out. Send emails to police people, to mayors and things to try to help change what is going on in the world right now, because it is just absolutely horrendous and horrible, and it needs to change. And this is the only way in history that has been shown that will change. And we live in a group in a society of my generation in particular, because my generation is different than my brother's generation. We, in particular, are really trying to put our voices out there, telling people this is wrong. And I just want to continue telling people that this is wrong. If you have a problem with me saying this, I don't want you on my channel. It might be different from what my brother. I personally don't want you. I support this strongly, and I don't want you here, because it goes into a whole bunch of other things that I'm assuming you don't see.
And I mean this, guys, any negative comments on this section, because we talked about this, you will instantly be blocked, and you will not be allowed back on the channel.
Well, I can't block you from the channel. I'm just going to delete your comment. Sorry. YouTube has rules. But I'm going to try my hardest.
Yeah, because we're going to take that shit. This is important. And like you said, we know everybody can't donate, but go sign petitions. Let your voice be heard. This is an important thing going on, not just in our country, but in the entire world. This is a global thing now. And if that doesn't show you how big this is, then clearly you're just keeping your head underneath the rock, or you're being a belligerent idiot. And you really, really, really need to look at what's going on in the world, because it's not just the coronavirus anymore. It's us, and we need to take care of each other.
With that being said, I just want to very quickly mention it so you guys understand that down below, there's a whole website you can go to that I'm linking that has several different places you can go. But then, of course, there is bigger stuff and things like that. I just want to very quickly mention it before we jump into what we've been watching. And so let's jump into what we have been watching. A much more light-hearted kind of tone. type of thing. I just wanted to
Pickup came over this weekend, and I watched a lot of movies because of it.
And also, we want to mention, I think this is a perfect place, Just Mercy. It's free. There's a lot of movies that are cheaper or free that help support the Black community and things. And just for instance, we do plan on watching Just Mercy as a live commentary at some point during this month. We're still trying to figure out a date. Once we do have a date, I'll make it, post it, and you guys can go ahead and put a reminder on things. And we'll keep talking about it as we get closer in the podcast. We decided to do first before Sonic because
Sonic will still happen. We just don't know when it's going to happen now.
Yes, we would much rather do this, what it's about, everything else. We just think it's much more appropriate, and honestly, we're looking forward to the movie.
I've been looking forward to it since they announced it back, but we just didn't have unfortunate time to go see it because everything going on. So just to give everybody a heads up, that's our next movie commentary. Will be Just Mercy, and anybody can watch it because it's free, and any place you can rent a movie. All right, moving on to what we actually have been watching, though. Zachary, do you want to go first? I have a long list. So do I, because after you left, I just continued. So I watched 7 movies with you while you were here? 7?
Oh, shit, I totally forgot about all those movies that we had to talk about. Yeah, we watched a lot of movies.
So I have really sat on it, and I can really tell you what my favorite film we watched while you were here is. I can really tell you. And it's going to shock you because you're going to think it's one, but it's another one completely. My favorite movie that we watched together was the one without is one without Dad. It was just Ready or Not.
Oh yeah, we did watch that.
I fucking love that movie. It's spontaneous. It's weird. It's got some of the best deaths of maids I've ever seen. It's a brilliant, really fucked up version of Clue, and I love it to death. But my second favorite was, I now think is a masterpiece of a film because of how much I'm still thinking about it, and that's American Psycho. That is a beautifully beautiful, fucking gorgeous film of nothing of layers and layers of detail. And oh my God, I just can't stop thinking about it. Over the last night, I watched another 2 movies. I watched both TMNT #1 from the 90s and TMNT 2 Secret of the Ooze. And I can tell you as a Turtle fan, the first movie is the most underrated film I think of all time. It has got one of the best. It has got one of the best scripts for a kids movie I've ever heard about. I've ever listened to. The themes in this film are dark, they're mature, and they were definitely ahead of their time when it comes to a kids film. The puppeteering mastery from Jim Henson cannot be understated. Those suits are incredible. But the best thing about this film, the best thing about this movie, is the Splinter-Raphael relationship. You see this kid, he's a kid in this movie. I think people always forget, they're not adults, they're teenagers. There's a difference. This kid is neglected. He is a loner. He doesn't like dealing with his problems. And the only person that gets him is his subsequent father, who found him buried in trash in the sewer. And he is nothing but rage. And it embodies me a little bit. That's why I like Raph so much. I'm an angry person. I hide it very well. And seeing Raph, be around his brothers and his dad brings out the better in him, and it really shows. So the best moment of the movie is also the saddest moment of the film. It's when they come home after being with April, their house is destroyed, and Splinter is gone. Not Leo, not Mikey, not Donnie, but Raph just screams in agony because her father was taken. And it's a beautiful film. I didn't realize how good this movie was until I watched it last night. It really, 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 really is one of the better live-action cartoon movies out there. And if you've never seen the 1990s TMNT movie, I highly recommend it. It's also the only film where you see Leo actually cut people with a katana. After that movie, he only uses sticks. He never uses a sword again. is a mature film. It's a funnier movie. The language is crazy in that movie. I forgot how many times they said the word damn in that movie. It's crazy. And then let's see what else. I finished all of season 1 of Looney Tunes cartoons. Really, really funny. We also watched The Invisible Man. I thought was okay. We watched The Hunt, which is a fucking crazy film. If you've never seen The Hunt, go watch The Hunt. We watched The Lodge, which was a boring religion-esque film that was just okay. And let's see. Oh, and we watched Friends while you were here, and there's nothing wrong with that. So yeah, I've watched a lot over the past couple of days, and I love it. I love the fact I've gone back and watching movies again. I've missed it. Thanks to you, buddy.
Is there anything else?
No, that's it. Oh, and Batwoman.
Are you? We did watch Batwoman. Okay, because I totally forgot we watched movies and stuff. I just went through and I just put a whole bunch of ones on June 1st because we didn't watch them on June 1st, but it's close enough, and so I just put a whole bunch of them. So, and I'm just gonna run through them real fast on the movies that I've watched. Most of them are the same exactly as Zachary's, since we watched a lot of them together. But I'll run through them again, and I'll tell you guys my star ratings and stuff like that. So I watched Need for Speed, which was a 3-star film. It was okay, not great. I do enjoy it though. It's such a nice little guilty pleasure. Ready or Not, which is a 4.5-star film. It's a beautiful. The ending is just so marvelous. The ending and the older lady, Ursula.
My reaction, still my favorite. You watching me react to the end of that movie is my favorite thing.
Ursula, her facial expression, the car. We also watched American Psycho, which I gave 5 stars, which I've already seen before. It's one of my favorite films of all time. Or it's up there in one of my favorite films. I really need to make that list. We should really do a video on that, our favorite films of all time. It's going to be so hard, but I think we should make a certified list.
Yeah, I agree.
And then we also watched The Hunt, this is like my 5th or 6th time watching The Hunt. Still love it as much as I did the first 5 times. Invisible Man, I have to say, was not as good as it was in theaters because it takes away the shock value of the first time you see it. And also, when you watch it at home, you have people, not going to name who, picking it apart while you watch the movie. And it ruins it. So,
I'm sorry.
Then we watched The Invisible Man, which I gave 3.5 stars. I'm not The Invisible Man, The Lodge, which I gave 3.5 stars. What Zachary said, it's a religious horror film. That wasn't really a horror film. It's much more suspense-y, I guess. Had some very interesting moments in it, very shocking in certain parts, which was fine. Then we watched Inheritance. Do you remember that one? The Simon Pegg one?
Which one?
The Simon Pegg one?
Oh, wait, yeah, I did. Yeah, that was good. That the ending is crazy. The rest of the film was kind of boring.
I gave it 2.5 stars. I was really disappointed. It had so much more potential. Like the beginning and things, it reminded me of some of my favorite thriller novels that I've read and things. And I was like, oh, is this what we're gonna do? And then it just kind of dragged for an hour and 40 minutes.
You and I hated the ending. We hated the ending because of how they do the ending.
It was just really annoying and very cliche. So then I watched Charlie's Angels, which I gave 3.5 stars. This is the new one, 2019 version. I really, really like it. Still recommend it. Very much. Still a very good film. Then me and my dad also watched Malevolent, which is a horror film that's on Netflix with Florence Pugh, for the reason why I watched it. And it has a very disturbing scene in it that I still think about to this day. And it's 2.5 stars, since I don't recommend, since it was pretty bad. But the torture in it, was good. The movie itself, pretty bad. Oh, also, forgot, I've been watching a little bit of television.
Oh, Lovebirds.
Oh, shit, we also watched Lovebirds. I knew I forgot one.
That's a great movie. We watched
a lot of movies.
Lovebirds
that was hilarious. I was so sad to see it fall out of the top 10 for Netflix already.
It's such a good movie.
Not enough people.
Watch Goldbergs. Really go watch it.
It's like a 3. It's like a 3.5. It's just like a good movie. Like, it's funny. You enjoy your time. It's not huge. It's not big. But everybody in the movie is so good. And especially right now with everything going on, the leads, and, it's not a white, which is refreshing as well, especially because this was simply a film. It was just so good. It was just so good.
It's legit one of my favorite Netflix originals they've put out so far. I love that movie to death. It's really, really funny.
Thank you, Paramount.
Yes, thank you. Now, get into your Arrow stuff.
Alrighty, so I've watched a little bit of television since the last time I saw you. I watched the entire first season of Schitt's Creek, in the first episode of second season. I'm currently waiting. I think I might watch it with Dad. Dad could have continued, but I'll have to wait and talk to him about it. But yeah, I loved it. I thought it was great. I hated the first few episodes, but you gotta get past it. It's a great sitcom, and if you're in the mood for something kind of light and funny and just like having a good old time, it's on Netflix. Recommend. But let's get into the behemoth of what I'm currently going through. And I'll rank them by season, by the way, since I have completed 2 and working through individuals. I have started watching the Arrowverse, which I don't recommend to anybody who wants to start watching, only because it gets so fucking complicated that, like, I don't know how I'm going to watch this. I've officially gone down the route of I'm going to watch them back to back. Except for Supergirl Season 1, I'm going to watch that by itself, and Legends Season 1. Everything going forward, though, I'm going to watch them as they aired, like how they aired on CW, and go back and forth between the TV shows, because it just gets so confusing, guys. So confusing. Which I don't recommend. But either way, I have watched Season 1 of Arrow, which I thought was so good. Everybody was telling me how bad it was. Everybody was like, it's not that great. Wait, it gets better, and then it gets horrible. So, yeah. And I have some opinions on that as well. But Season 1, I thought it was great. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed every episode that I watched. I skipped the first, 7 or something because I'd already seen them, and I'm, was trying to build momentum. Season 2, I'd already seen most of it, at least the last, 8 or 9 episodes of Season 2 I'd already seen. And I have to say I didn't really like it. I thought it was good. I enjoyed most of the storylines in it, I have to say. But because I know where some of these characters are going, just because I know spoilers, then the potential they have, I thought they were let down. I did like the bigger budget. I did like the idea of having, but my gosh, I do feel bad for Arrow after watching the first few episodes of Flash. They do not have the Flash's budget, and they deserve it. They fucking do, but they don't. And it's sad. But that being said, I've seen the first 7 episodes of Arrow Season 3. And by the way, I've watched all this stuff in the past 4 or 5 days. It's been real soon. Is that right? When did I come home?
You came home
Tuesday.
Yeah. No, Monday.
It was Monday. And I started watching them Monday. So then a week. Almost a week. Tomorrow will be a week. I watched all this. And then, so then I was told to go over to The Flash. And so I've seen the first 6 episodes of The Flash, and I think overall, very well done. I do want to talk to Zachary some spoilery stuff, but I can't talk about here because it's spoilery and stuff. So, yeah, that's all I can say about that right now.
I'm going to be honest with you. At this point,
nope.
The Flash.
Sorry.
Why?
Nope. Zachary, do you want to say the outro?
If you guys want to rate, subscribe to this YouTube channel, let us know how we're all doing on this show. We really appreciate you. Let us know in your comments how you're supporting yourself and your family and everything going on currently in the world. Let us know what you're currently watching, and we will also see you guys in the next podcast, also with our commentary for Just Mercy, which we will give you a release date for relatively soon. Also, if you're listening to us on the streamies, go ahead and rate, and subscribe over there on Apple Podcasts. Make sure to give us a follow on Spotify and all that fun stuff for everybody else to find on podcasts. Outro music.
Sing.